They said it couldn't be done. Episode 2, Below the Beanie, coming at you on this Monday, May 18th. And I want to say thank you to the Ridge Wallet for sponsoring this episode. More on that later. In case you missed it, this weekend was UFC Fight Night in Jacksonville. But if you ask me, it should have been called UFC 211. I know the real ones out there know what I'm talking about. Fight Talk starts right now. Don't timestamp me, alright? Let's start off with Nascimento and Mays. Mays is a stand-up fighter. Nascimento's a grappler. So the whole fight was Nascimento eating away out those legs until he got that fool tired enough to take him down. Took the back, rear naked choke, tapped that fool out. Easy. Nascimento was my pick for that one. Now, did I pick like way late into the second round when he was already smoking that fool? Yeah, but I forgot to pick earlier. Honest mistake. Next, we have Casey and Borea. And Borea's one of those ones that she looks a lot better on Instagram than inside the cage, like Luke Rockhold. So, unfortunately, she didn't realize what she was getting herself into when she took Casey to the ground. You see, Casey is new to the division. She just moved up. So Borea was trying to avoid those hands, took her down, got caught up in the armbar, let out a terrifying scream, and that was the end of that. That one goes to Casey. That one was not my pick. I lost out on that one. After that, we had Alkins versus Landwehr, and that was my kind of fight. Stayed on the feet most of the time. Very exciting, very bloody, very Mankind versus Undertaker. I like to see that. There were a few times where you could see that Alkins was trying to take it to the ground so that he could avoid those hands like Borea, but he didn't really have any success, and he kept getting all bloodied up to the point where Herb Dean actually had to have the ref look at him, but it was alright. He let that fool keep going, and then Landwehr ended up all bloody himself. The only difference is that was still Alkins' blood all over him. My pick was Landwehr, but I actually started to regret it because that fool's annoying. He was just showboating and crying to Dana the whole time, trying to make sure that he likes him. Landwehr ended up getting the decision on that one. Next, we had Jacuzzi and Rivera. I had never seen Jacuzzi fight before, but that fool's bad. And I think he's going to be a real threat in the division later on. Rivera is also a savage though, and he deserves credit for taking the fight on like 2 days notice. Unfortunately, the height and reach advantage that Jacuzzi had was just too much for Rivera because they were the same kind of fighters. They were both strikers. I was thinking maybe if Rivera was more of a grappler, then he'd find a way around it. He would take that fool to the ground or whatever. But the fact that they were both on the feet trying to go toe to toe, the extra height and reach was just too much. Rivera couldn't keep up. But he was very unorthodox, very interesting to watch, and you could tell he was looking out for those leg kicks because most of the time when Jacuzzi would throw one, that fool would practically jump up over him like a little monkey. That fool kept jumping. It was pretty fun to watch. But eventually he was just overwhelmed with the attributes of Jacuzzi, and Jacuzzi got the decision on that one. After that was Harland and Hernandez. This was probably one of my favorite fights. Harland is bad. And one of the things I think most notable about this fight is that they didn't touch gloves at the beginning of the round. And honestly, I've become more and more of a fan of that lately. I remember a while back, I used to think it was kind of bad sportsmanship when people wouldn't touch gloves at the beginning of a round. But now I think actually touching gloves before the round starts, like when it's at the very beginning, when the ref's giving the instructions and all that, that's all good. Touch hands if you want. But I think when the round starts, I don't think you should touch hands right there because I think it could potentially throw off the game plan. Just think about like Masvidal and Askren, the way he came out and knocked them out like that in a few seconds. He would have never been able to do that if they would have touched gloves. The way that Harland came out with the quickness, throwing overhand rights right away from the beginning, setting the pace, he overwhelmed that fool from the start, landed a clean combo, knocked him down, and got the TKO. I don't think it would have happened that way if they would have touched gloves. After that, we had Brown and Beza, and everybody in the chat was asking the same question. Matt Brown still fighting? I should point out that somewhere in the middle of the first round, Matt Brown did have a little run, and everybody got all excited for him, but that was it. Other than that, he was very sluggish and probably ready to ride off into the sunset, Remember, this is the fool that was talking about fighting Snoop Dogg on the Joe Rogan podcast. And most likely when you start talking about fighting Snoop Dogg, you're probably ready to stop fighting in the cage. Somewhere in the second round, he moved in trying to land a shot, all slow, and Beza counterpunched, knocked that fool down, got the TKO. As I mentioned before, this episode is sponsored by the Ridge wallet. I remember back in the day when I used to use a regular wallet, I used to keep a bunch of useless stuff in there. Receipts, business cards, Blockbuster cards, library cards. Hey, you think I'm going to the library? Well, this wallet will make those difficult decisions for you. The Ridge wallet's like receipts. Chale, all you need are your cards and your cash. You're writing clean in the front pocket. I don't get it. You got fools out there with the latest gadgets, wireless headphones, new computers, but they're walking around with leather wallets like it's 1995. The Ridge wallet is made out of 2 metal plates and an elastic band. If I remember correctly, that's what Batman uses. And if you don't want to listen to me or Batman, then maybe you should listen to the 30,000 people that gave it a 5-star review. The Ridge wallet has a lifetime warranty and free returns if you decide that you don't like it. But that's not gonna happen. It comes in titanium, carbon fiber, aluminum, and over a dozen different styles and colors. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/Voto. That's ridge.com/Voto and use promo code VOTO. Please get one. Then it was Song and Vera. And it was at this point in the night where everybody started wondering if maybe Keith Peterson and his homies were the judges, because this one definitely felt like a robbery. Some people even thought that maybe it was political, but I'm gonna stay out of that one for right now. The fight did go back and forth. It looked at many points like it could have gone either way, but eventually the decision went to Song. And even though personally I felt like Chito won, I didn't like how he handled things at the end when he didn't want to shake hands with that fool. He was being a bad sport. But I think I should point out that my pick was Yadong, so I was still right. All right, next we have Anders and Joko. And I want to take a moment right now to apologize to Anders, because the other night during the stream, I kept calling that fool Ward. Because, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that fool looks like Andre Ward. And I kept trying to correct myself during the stream, but I kept doing it over and over again because that fool just kept looking like Ward. It seems like lately, more and more fighters are winning matches purely based on control. Not this one. Anders had clinch control of Joko for 5 minutes and 53 seconds. Check the stats. Clinch control for 5 minutes and 53 seconds out of a 9-minute fight. That's like 2 full rounds. So Anders had 25 significant strikes and Joko had 54. But listen, Anders practically held that fool for 2 full rounds. For 2 out of 3 rounds, he completely controlled him. Hey, it's like, all right, if you don't want people to win fights that way because it's boring or whatever, it's inactive, that's cool. I could get down with that. But then stop letting anybody win like that. You can't let some people win for control and then tell other fools, nah, that fool have more strikes. Which one is it? Then we had Ige and Barboza. And as soon as I saw Barboza's name on the website, I knew that fool was gonna lose. Don't you remember barely in like March, he was on Twitter saying, hey Dana White, UFC, please let me go. I had a good run, but I want to move on now. And now he's on UFC Fight Night. That's like when you put in your 2 weeks, and you already checked out. I remember when I did that when I used to work at Jack in the Box. I put my 2 weeks in, and the whole rest of the time I was in the back eating French fries. Because you don't care anymore, You're just trying to collect a paycheck. The only thing I could think of is that Dana was like, hey, just stick around for a little bit. Maybe move over a weight division. I'll kick you some money. Maybe you could be a gatekeeper, But even though, I still felt like Barboza won. And that he got ripped off. But my pick was Ige. So I still was right. And then we had Gadela and Hill, which was the 4th and last official robbery of the night. More on that later. Hey, I'm just going to say what everybody's thinking. Gadela came into this fight looking like a light heavyweight. And I'm pretty sure that played a big factor into the power that she had behind her punches and every time that she would lay down on Hill. It's not fair. All right, let me break down this fight real simple for you. The whole thing was Hill teeing off on Gadela and Gardella trying to hold Hill against the cage. And you already know by now Gardella got the decision. And if she got the decision, then Anders should have also got the decision. That's what I'm talking about right there. The whole fight. Angela Hill, teeing off, looking good, moving around, good stick and move, good head movement, good hands, good legs. Gardella trying to press her with all her weight against the cage and hold her there, trying to get that control, and it worked for her. It didn't work for Anders, but it worked for Gardella. This fight screams 211. And I'm not just talking about Gardella's weight class. Overeem versus Harris. This was a tough one. And the UFC and ESPN didn't make it any easier with all those emotional promos that they kept running. People didn't know how to feel about it. There was a lot of people on this side saying, yeah, that's right. They should bring some awareness to it. It's good that they're acknowledging it. It's good that they're talking about it, not trying to act like it didn't happen. You know, let's celebrate this person and everything. You know, let's try to encourage Walt. And there was people on the other side saying this is cringy. They're exploiting the situation. This is like Conor with the bus all over again. They're trying to capitalize on it. They're trying to get people to buy it because they want to see all the emotional factors and stuff that's playing into it. There's people that liked it. There's people that felt like it was dirty. I don't know. I'm somewhere in between. And no matter what side of it you're on, you just couldn't help but root for Walt Harris because of everything that he's been through, unless you're heartless. And I didn't have any problems rooting for Harris or having him as my pick because I've been saying for the longest time that Overeem has that Luke Rockhold syndrome with that glass jaw and that it was going to end early. And you know what? I don't feel like I was wrong. Did you see the fight? It could have easily ended in the first round, but the ref didn't feel like stopping it. I don't know if you saw the fight. I don't know if you have ESPN Plus or Fight Pass or if you ever heard of MMA Core. But if you go back and watch the fight, it's clear that Overeem was not intelligently defending himself. That fool was going right down the middle, through his hands, around the side, and the ref was just watching him. Where's Keith Peterson when you need him? As the fight went on, Harris got tired, started breathing heavy. Overeem got a good position, started teeing off, and then all of a sudden, the ref felt like calling it. A lot of people felt like Harris just came back too early, but I don't hold it against him, you know? Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to clear your head. Get out of the house. Just try to stop feeling however you're feeling, you know? Just try something different, anything you could think of, just to at least try to get back to normal. He'll be back. So Overeem gets that one by TKO. I want to say thank you again to the Ridge Wallet for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to get one. Thank you to all of my patrons for your continuous support. You're the reason why I'm able to be here today. And thank you everybody for the super chat from the past couple of streams. It's made a big difference. I'm going to be coming out with the Khabib Nurmagomedov top finishes part 2 video very soon. So stay tuned for that one. Thank you for watching Mexican Martial Arts. Appreciate it. Good looking out. Late.